We can't say Sarah Connor didn't warn us. Skynet is coming, but not as a chrome skeleton robot in the guise of a former governing bodybuilder. More like if Picasso or Rembrandt had an astigmatism. That's right, our AI overlords are more interested in picking up paint and a paintbrush than in world domination, and I, for one, can't say that I've ever related more to a computer in my life. But why exactly have developers programmed computers to make art? And why are artists in an uproar? The answers to those questions and more up next on this CAPTCHA-friendly episode of Fact Bites. And while you're here, why not drop a like and subscribe to keep up with all of our non-AI, definitely human-generated content? It's hard not to feel like we're living in a cyberpunk dystopian future, especially when it comes to automation. Automation basically means the application of technology with minimal human input. And the hottest topic in the automation field is artificial intelligence. Now, I'm not talking about the artificial intelligence that will calmly destroy the world while politely asking if you'd like to play a game. We're not there. Yet. And we don't have time to fall down the deep rabbit hole that is the development and application of AI, so here is a brief overview. Artificial intelligence is the ability for a computer to perceive, understand, and interpret information, then perform tasks that an intelligent being would perform. Think of it like your local grocery store's self-checkout. The machine reads your scanned items, calculates the price of your groceries, then accepts the necessary amount of money to make a purchase and hands you back your receipt with any change. All the work of a human cashier packaged into a computer screen that somehow still can't scan the barcode on those personal items you were trying to buy on the down low, and now you have 3 customer service representatives trying to scan them? Okay, so we're not in the future yet. But how did the brain of a glorified calculator make its way onto the art scene? Well, it actually started way back in the 1970s. The artist and later programmer, Harold Cohen, initially wanted to determine at what point do marks on a page stop being marks and start being art. To find out, he developed programming for an early computer to determine how we translate lines into images. He called his system Aaron. No, Aaron doesn't stand for anything. Cohen just liked the idea that in a future filled with AI art systems, his would always come first, alphabetically. Cohen would give Aaron input, basically rules and forms, and then the program would operate a tiny car-like machine called a turtle that would hold a marker and move across a piece of paper to draw according to said input. I'm just gonna pause for a second and point out that if they were trying to create the cutest robot ever, they couldn't have found a better name than Turtle. In the early stages, the art was very abstract. One could almost say childlike, but would ultimately grow more complex through the 80s and 90s as Cohen continued developing the programming. By the end of Cohen's life, Aaron could draw actual objects and even mix its own paints to add in color. The AI generators of today are very similar, but they create entirely digital art. They generate original pieces in any style and method using the input of a text prompt through a process called deep learning. Deep learning uses copious amounts of labeled data to learn and generate functions and specific outputs, like Cohen inputting those rules and forms into Aaron, but on a much, much, much bigger scale. Or if we really want to creep people out with this whole AI thing, it's like the human brain, learning through constant repetition and memory recall. These AI generators have learned to copy and create any style of art with any potential subject, and this is where the controversy comes into play. Does it count as real art? Does it violate copyright and plagiarism laws? And what happens to human artists if we start turning to AI? Let's break these down one at a time. Does this count as real art? That's a question that's hotly debated in the artist community. Most artists say that it is not real art. In their minds, no real effort was put into the creation of these works. They're not like Aaron's turtle robot that moved across a page with a marker. They're assembling the art out of the ones and zeros on your computer screen. But digital art has been around for decades, so these artists further argue that this generated content wasn't made to fulfill art's purpose, to convey a message or emotion. But that brings us around to the very personal art is subjective debate, meaning that it really depends on who you ask. So does that mean AI-generated art is protected work of intellectual property? Concerning copyright, the U.S. Copyright Review Board has stated copyright law only protects the fruits of intellectual labor that are founded in the creative powers of the human mind. The office will not register works produced by a machine or mere mechanical process that operates without any creative input or intervention from a human author, because under the statute, a work must be created by a human being. As of now, AI is not protected. However, if a specific AI art generator is trained to simulate the work of a singular artist with the intention of selling that art, that still constitutes an act of plagiarism. You can't just teach your computer how to paint like Van Gogh and then start auctioning off your new landscapes full of sunflower fields. But what about the AI programming itself? In October of 2018, an AI-generated portrait was sold at Christie's auction house in New York. It was created using generative adversarial networks, or GANs, by the art collective known as Obvious. Christie's initially estimated the work would sell for between $7,000 and $10,000, but it blew everyone away when it sold for $432,500. But the controversy wasn't the price tag on a painting that only really looks good if you squint at it. It revolved around plagiarism of the code used to paint it. Obvious used code initially created by another AI artist, Robbie Barrett. While Barrett made his code freely available to programmers and AI artists for fun, it's a whole different story when those artists start making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of his programming. The most concerning aspect of AI art and AI in general is, are the robots replacing us? More specifically, people are worried about losing their jobs to machines if AI infiltrates the job sector as a more efficient and cost-effective labor force. For instance, back in December of 2022, the CEO of Krispy Kreme, Michael J. Tattersfield, stated that Krispy Kreme will begin to automate the frosting, filling, sprinkling, and packaging of their donuts, transitioning their low-production stores into donut creation factories. Tattersfield touted that this would help Krispy Kreme switch focus from in-store sales to a more profitable distribution model. What he didn't mention was what's going to happen to all the current employees of Krispy Kreme franchises, and how am I still gonna get hot and ready donuts at any time of the day or night? I mean, come on, dude, these are important questions. Back to the art world. In August of 2022, Jason M. Allen entered Colorado's State Fair art competition using an AI-generated piece of art created through a program called Midjourney. Then, to his surprise, he actually won first place. He even got a blue ribbon and $300 in prize money. Artists were notably outraged over the win, calling the work lazy and not real art. Allen was quoted saying, "I won, and I didn't break any rules," since he submitted the work in the digital art category under the name Jason M. Allen via Midjourney. Looking at this piece, I'm actually kind of into it. Like, I would almost hang that on my wall. But I would also argue that the blue ribbon and the $300 shouldn't go to Allen. It should go to Midjourney. Artists are mad, but more importantly, they're afraid. Why would anyone want to pay for art when they can generate their own in seconds? Especially as generators have grown to be more complex and detailed in the last couple of years, such as Stable Diffusion AI and DALL-E 2. In December of 2022, Adobe Inc. even released new guidelines allowing for the addition and use of AI-generated art to Adobe stock. That means that you could start seeing AI-generated art used in ads and media any day now. So that is just the surface of the very technical and slightly ominous world of AI. What do you think? Is this real art? What's next in the world of AI automation? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching!